really think about it, there's a lot of things to be said. You should really think about it. I mean, I myself am young, and it really makes an impact on people's feelings. I mean, nature is so beautiful, and you don't want it to be ruined until my children get to see it, or my grandchildren, or great-grandchildren. You want it to be there for always, because God intended it to be that way, for everybody to enjoy it. So, that's the way I feel.
Here looking at the Big Snowy Mountain Wilderness Study Area, which is located approximately 20 miles south of Lewistown, Montana. Lewistown is the exact geographical center of Montana, and it is the beginning point of the Great Plains. The Big Snowy Mountains is one of the last intact island ranges in Montana. There are 8, and they've all suffered tremendous abuse from logging, roading, mining, and we're fortunate enough to be in a position to try and save any more degradation in the Big Snowy Mountains by the work that we do. At present is a copper zinc mine proposed to go in the Swimming Woman Canyon, which is on the south side of the Snowies, and we have been working diligently to stop that. It's incompatible with a wilderness study area. In 1977, the Montana Wilderness Study Act was passed, which was intended to force the Forest Service to maintain the integrity of this area, the Big Snowy Mountains, so as to keep it for designation as a wilderness. A mine is absolutely incompatible and illegal in a wilderness study area. This area is one of our last intact ecosystems and supports an amazing array of wildlife. We have deer, elk, bobcat, lynx, wolverine, migrating populations of golden eagle, peregrine falcon, west slope cutthroat trout, and hundreds of wildflowers. You know, some of my favorite are the columbine.
We're coming in from the little Snowies, east of the big Snowies, in the foothills in the foreground, heavily timbered, and you can see the beginning of Old Baldy off in the far back, and as we move westward from left to right, we've got a continuum of high elevation country of Knife Blade Ridge, Half Moon Pass, and Great House Peak. The Half Moon Pass that you see in the foreground is directly north of Swimming Woman, which is in the south slope of the Snowies, in which this proposed mining by Cominco, a Canadian firm, might take place. As we continue westward, you can see the elevation gradually declining. We're looking at the East Fork of Spring Creek, a famous stream and watershed, and the beginning of the Crystal Lake drainage, which is hidden from our view between here and the skyline. And you can see that the terrain is somewhat gradual, although it's very deceptive. When you get up there, it's highly broken and fragmented, and many precipitous canyons, which we don't see from this viewpoint. As we continue westward, the slope declines and becomes quite uniform. Between us and the skyline are many deep canyons of Cottonwood Creek, Beaver Creek, and a whole series of other drainages that flow to the north. And we taper out to the pass where the Nez Perce came up through from the south and headed north toward Canada.
this area is under assault at this point. You know, we've worked the last couple summers to keep the Cominco Mining Company out of this area for exploratory purposes, because it's our contention that basically that's an illegal and improper use of this area to explore, and if that leads to discovery, it will ultimately lead to mining, and that's basically the destruction of this area. If we lose the Swimming Woman Canyon, it's a sizable chunk, you know, in a very pristine part of the area, and it's basically unacceptable to us and to this community to lose that area. We're fortunate enough to receive water from the Big Spring Creek from the Snowy Mountains, and the town of Lewistown utilizes that as its primary water source, as well as the Big Spring is bottled and sent out. And at this point, there's no conclusive study stating what the effects will be from any type of mining operation as far as the aquifer and the quality of water. And once it's gone, it's gone. You know, we all know that.
Once you start mining and all those chemicals and everything goes through it, it really ruins things.
Well, we're sitting here at East Fork Reservoir, which is about 12 miles southeast of Lewistown, Montana, in the heart of Montana, the central part of the state, looking south toward Half Moon Canyon and the Snowy Mountain Wilderness Study Area. And directly on the other side, over Half Moon Pass, is the Swimming Woman area that we'll talk about relative to the Cominco mine. And the Forest Service has declared that they don't want the Snowies to be in the wilderness system. So they have made every effort to ignore law, to even openly challenge it and violate it. And we have found that they're not supportive of wilderness. So when it comes to Cominco, they were willing in 1995 to give them a quick and dirty type of document, which was a permit to go in and do their work without any kind of public participation or knowledge. Now, the company and the Forest Service have all acknowledged on record that mining is absolutely illegal in the wilderness study area.
And at this point, there's no conclusive study stating what the effects will be from any type of mining operation as far as the aquifer and the quality of water. And once it's gone, it's gone. You know, we all know that. And we also know that we're privileged enough to have some of the cleanest drinking water in the country and probably the world. And it's interesting, just a few weeks ago, our local newspaper, the Lewistown News-Argus, came out with a really thoughtful editorial regarding what does this community have to lose? Basically acknowledging that the community has not really been well informed, hasn't been part of the process, and the fact that it is a geologic and a biologic system means it's interconnected. And to assume that this nice little exploratory and mining operation can go in on the south side and not, you know, create havoc on the water system on the Big Spring Creek, which comes through the town as the town's water system, is archaic. And I was really thankful to see, you know, the editorial basically questioning people to think and then to act. You know, do we know what we're doing? Is there enough evidence to allow us to feel comfortable potentially losing our water system?
You'll wind up with dissolution, a chemical process where you have acid mine drainage, which essentially is sulfuric acid coming out. And you can't stop it. Once it's exposed to the air, it goes on for centuries. And they claim various techniques of covering it with mylars and clay, whatever else. Well, that's never been proved, and never longer than a decade any place in the world has this ever been done. So if mining should occur, you'd have a massive hole or mining operation on the south side, possibly elsewhere. And once they left, all that acid mine drainage, sulfuric acid, would go into the various drainages, mussel shell and wherever else. It's illogical. It's almost criminal in my mind. And I don't want my water screwed up. The entire city council of Lewistown is opposed to mining in the Snowies.
They targeted Swimming Moon Basin, and that the water there is, in the Snowies, is crystal clear. They don't need to filter it. If they did that, you wouldn't be able to drink it anymore. There'd be no way. And Lewistown's, all their water comes from there. You can't, I mean, once you destroy that, where else are they going to get their water?
The Forest Service's own legal counsel stated that the only way mining could occur in this area and others is if it didn't damage the wilderness aspects of the WSA. Basically what we're seeing here, I believe, is a refusal to do the EIS, because then they will have it on official record. It will damage the wilderness characteristics of this WSA and obviously others. Therefore, their own legal counsel has told them what needs to be done, and they're backing away from that. An EIS would absolutely determine that the mining activity they're proposing in the Big Snowies will denigrate the wilderness characteristics of this area.
We asked some foreign company to destroy it. This is our Montana Beauty. How can we ask some foreign company to destroy it?